Okay, guys, hope you're doing really well. My name's Henry Fortunato, the founder of Unicorn Digital and FlexFit Personal Training. What we do specifically at Unicorn Digital is we help gyms get a minimum of 50 up to 200 new client opportunities every month utilizing Facebook and Google Ads. We've done it with multiple different niches across different continents: Asia, America, Australia. We've done it all, almost. But we get really good results for our gyms, and they get profitable clients every month. But a very important piece to the puzzle that we provide, the whole package that we provide to our clients, is sales support. And there's a very specific method that you can use to bring your sales game up. Now, in our own business at FlexFit, we have managed to get a 80% conversion rate from our leads. Now, a couple of points there. We mainly use Google, which means that our leads are more qualified and they have more intent when they sign up. And a bit of more of the selling is done at the front end of the piece, which means that they have a longer sign-up process with a couple more barriers than you would with, say, a lead gen form with Facebook. Even still, your benchmark for a Facebook lead would want to be 30 to 40% conversion into a booking and paying client, give or take. Now, a couple of points with that. If you're running a Facebook ad and you're trying to get clients for your gym, for your fitness business, mobile personal training, yoga studio, cycle class, whatever, boot camp, you want to make sure that you call that prospect within 10 minutes of them signing up. The likelihood of them actually converting into a client, the longer you wait, diminishes ad infinitum. It really, like, the first 10 minutes is the golden time when they're hot. They're in that mode, like you can see in this picture here. Their brain's pumping. They're ready to take action. They've given you their information, so they've given you permission to call them. So with that said, with a couple of those, pretext to this video, I'm going to dive in straight away into 7 principles to make sure that you can hit that 30 to 40% conversion benchmark rate. Now, this is based on high-level sales training, and it is also based on practical experience. I do hundreds of calls every week to gym owners, to potential clients, and these are tried and true principles that do work. By the way, this is principles, and there will be a little bit of tactics involved in terms of things that you can apply straight away practically, but this will give you an underlying sense of how to conduct a sales call. Now, another bit of pretext to this video is that I want you to picture this. There's different selling situations. As an example, if you're selling a fleet of jets to a airline provider, so say Boeing's selling a fleet of jets to an airline provider like Singapore Airlines, this is in the realm of billions of dollars. Your sales timeline will be a lot quicker than if you were someone selling fortune cookies on the side of the road. When you're selling fortune cookies on the side of the road, you don't really need to go through such a long process as this. But when you're selling a fleet of aircraft to Singapore Airlines and you're Boeing, you better have a strong, long process for this to happen. So that's just, where gyms fit in this and selling to clients. You're probably on the end closer to the fortune cookie than the billions of dollars, unless your service is billions of dollars. And I'm not saying your service is a fortune cookie, but you want to be realistic in how long you should really be spending with a prospect. And I would say that the perfect time frame based on experience is 15 to 20 minutes on the phone. And I'll give you tell you why. That will give them the time to basically dump their emotional content behind why they've signed up for your service. The key with selling is to not promote or put forward your features and benefits, but it's actually to extract the emotional reason that they're signing up for your service so that you can connect your actual product or service to their emotion. So it's a hand in glove fit. So I think that's enough pretext. Without further ado, we're going to go through these 7 slides, and we're also going to go through some live calls at the end of the video to make sure that you can actually see this practice see this framework in action, because it works, and I stand 100% behind it. Some people that have informed this type of selling is Oren Clough, who wrote Pitch Anything. What's his name? The guy who wrote Never Split the Difference. He was an FBI negotiator. Let me actually quickly find his name, because if you guys want to deep dive into this stuff, which I recommend, I really want to give you the right information. So he wrote Never Split the Difference. Give me 10 seconds and I'll get this on the phone. By Christopher Voss. So Christopher Voss, Never Split the Difference. And the third one, or actually 2 more, Grant Cardone, Sell or Be Sold. Unbelievable book. Unbelievable book. That's his best book by far. I've read all of them. That is his best book. And then Brian Tracy, who's also like he was the highest selling sales trainer during the 80s and the 90s. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm going to get rid of my face so you can focus on the slides. So, okay guys, so getting right into it, baseline sales psychology and principles for gym owners and personal trainers. Now, I'm not going to do this big preamble that you'll find in a lot of webinars where they'll talk about, where are you now? Are you struggling? Are you wanting to earn $1 million a year? I'm just going to dive straight into it because nobody's got time for that. So I appreciate your time and let's go. So first thing you want to do in the sales situation is you want to lead. You want to be the leader. So this means on a phone call that you lead the conversation. And now this will naturally go into the next principle that we have here. But you want to lead in terms of bringing that person to the end destination. So this means that you don't talk about the weather. This means that you don't talk about, build rapport for 5 minutes. You obviously want to build rapport in the first 30 seconds and make sure that the person's smiling on the other end of the phone. But at the end of the day, you're leading them to the close. You're leading them to making a decision. Now, the other piece here is that you don't want to come across like a face-humping alien. Quote from Combo Prospecting by Tony Hughes. Great book, by the way. You want to come across as an advisor, a leader, someone who can inform their decision making so that they feel that they're making the right decision. So you need to do leadership-based selling. And there's another piece to this here as well. A leader has authority. You don't want to be someone who's begging and scraping for their business. You need to come in with the persona and the identity that you don't need their business. On the flip side, you do want to push. And you do need their business at the end of the day, or you do want their business. But there's sort of a paradox in this, in that you need to be away from the sale, you need to be a step away from the close, and fully detach yourself from needing to sell. But at the same time, you need to be 100% committed to the sale in terms of helping the client make the right decision. And another pretext to this is that we're not selling water to a well or selling ice to Eskimos. We're selling a product that someone genuinely needs. And the sales process will identify whether that person really needs what you're offering. And for a gym, this is pretty simple. So without further ado, let's go to the next slide. Always ask questions. This is an underlying principle of selling. Amateur salespeople spend their time selling and talking too much. They really talk way too much on the phone. You need to dial down your talking and simply ask questions like, hey, I saw that you reached out and signed up for our offer. What were you wanting to achieve? Notice that silence. Don't say anything. Don't go, what are you wanting to achieve? What are you wanting to do? Blah, 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 blah. Don't ask them 4 questions. Ask them one question. What are you wanting to do with this? Pause, let them actually think about it, and then actually listen to what they say. You don't need to fill the gaps. In fact, the more gaps there are in the conversation, the more time the prospect has to think, and the less you come across as desperate, and the more you come across as authoritative. Think of like Aragorn or the gladiator Marcus Aurelius. They didn't blab their heads off. They were authoritative, didn't speak often, but when they spoke, it made sense and it was pertinent to the conversation. You generally don't even want to talk about your product, but really deep dive into the pains of your prospect. So a framework I use with a potential PT client is, hey, how are you? Good. Develop rapport. Now, what are you wanting to do with their personal training? And then they'll tell you their story. And this leads to the next thing. Extended silence. When they're telling their story, well, this is like a very common story. Well, you know, I was at the gym for 6 months, like last year, but then my husband got sick and I had to look after him, and he's better now, and I've just started work again, and I'm wanting to really do something to get back into shape. You just want to listen. And even when they stop talking, just give it like 2-3 seconds, listen and absorb what they've said, and then say, awesome, I think we can really help. Or, okay, that makes sense. What do you mean? One question you want to ask regularly is, what do you mean? Particularly, obviously, if you don't know what they're saying, but even if you need more clarity around what they're actually meaning, you know, in everyday life, people have layers of realness or layers of reality to conversation. If you're meeting someone just during the day and you say, hey, how are you? People are just automatically going to say good, when really inside they're feeling terrible. And often it takes 3 to 5 questions to get down to the truth. So you're saying, really? You good? Yeah, I guess I'm okay. And then you say, like, tell me what's happening. And they say, well, actually, to be honest, there it is. They're being honest. My last couple of days have been really bad. Like, all this stuff's happening and blah, blah, blah. Now, here's an important piece. In the sales conversation, you're developing trust with the prospect. Use this carefully. You want to you want to have integrity, and you want to actually develop an emotional relationship with your prospect, so that they feel as though you care about them, and that you're listening to them, and that you can actually provide a solution to their problem. Once they've given you that, you know, I'm going to be honest with you, then you've struck gold. Now, a little bit more of a top level strategy here. Gather intel and force the Freudian slip. Now, obviously gathering intel makes sense. You want to ask them, like, what stopped you from going to the gym in the past? Like, what are you doing now? Do you have any injuries? Blah, 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 blah. But the Freudian slip is something deeper. What the Freudian slip is where someone really tells you the truth, why they're wanting to get fit. And I'll give you an example. I had a client early last year. She'd tell me all this stuff like, yeah, I'm wanting to get fit because, you know, my kids have just started school and now I've got my routine going, and I'm struggling to find time to go to the gym after work, so I think it'd be better if we do it in the mornings, blah, 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 blah. And then, like a few more layers down into the real conversation and what she's really feeling, she'll say, actually, to be honest, I've just started going on Tinder and I want to get a date. That is the real emotional piece. That is the real emotional content behind why they're signing up. And the thing is, you do not want to force, you don't want to assume anything. You don't want to assume that that's what they want, because if you say to them, like, are you dating on Tinder, before they've given you that information, you're going to burn them and they're going to run away from you as fast as they can. When I write force Freudian slip, I should probably have in parentheses here, gentle guidance, which is a bit different to force. But underlying it, you are actually forcing the Freudian slip. So once you have that emotional piece, that emotional content, you have got the firepower to close the deal. Now the next thing is another high-level strategy or tactic. Mirror subtly. So this comes from Never Split the Difference by Christopher Voss. And one thing you want to do is just mirror back the language, the inflection, the tone, the speed, and the weight of the person's conversation. So if they're saying, I'd really love to get super fit, your response would be, awesome, John. We're looking forward to really helping you get super fit. I mean, that's actually a bit of a corny example, but you do want to mirror back subtly, not obviously, and don't use this as like a constant thing. Use it very sparingly, but it's like salt on a meal. You want to have a little bit of salt, but if you have too much salt, it ruins the meal. Mirror their conversation and the words that they speak. Now, next thing, trial close. Once you've gone through the framework of, hi, how are you? That's obviously the greeting. The second piece is relevance. I'm just calling because you signed up for our 2-week free trial. You've got relevance. Then the next thing, this is where you want to lead. Even if they say, yeah, blah, 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 just ignore what they said. Obviously listen, but then just say, look, what are you wanting to do with the 2-week free trial? What's the goal? Get to that question. What is the goal? Let them drop the emotional content, the Freudian slip. Make sure that you extend your silence and listen. When you get to the point where they've sort of emptied their emotional content, they've told you everything that they need to tell you, and it makes sense, it's been about 15 minutes, you then want to use the trial close. On a higher ticket sale, a trial close could be something like this. So what's stopping you from starting tomorrow? Or when do you want to come into the gym? Or what's a good time for you to come in tomorrow or the day after? Or are you available to come in tomorrow? Could be very conversational. Okay, John, we can definitely help you here. We've seen so many people with the same issues as you, and they've come out the other end feeling so much better for having done our program. Now, when would you be free tomorrow to come into our gym, to come into our facility? I've got some spots available for you. That's the trial close. Now, after that is get the close. Now, this is where you really want to demonstrate what they've told you and how your service can meet that solution. With the close, I'm just trying to think of an example that I can show you here. Is just say, look, based on what you told me, we can definitely help. The last thing to do here is for you to make payment. And the way that you could, some people like Stelly from Close.io, they'll give an example of, just say, can you pay me? Or are you ready to pay? You can use that in some scenarios, but I find the most effective way, particularly in this sort of setting, is just to say, okay, last thing to do is just to get the payment sorted, get it out of the way, get the payment sorted. We generally do direct debits. If you could get your card out for me, please, then we can process that. The real close is when they pay. The trial close is when you get a booking and when you've actually wrapped up the whole conversation. The real close is when you get the payment. And it's speaking very confidently, very straightforwardly. We take direct debits. If you could provide your card now, I can put the payment through and then it's all set and ready to go. That's it. So guys, without further ado, we're going to jump into some live sales calls. Let's go for it. Okay, guys, so this is some live calls just for you to get a feel of how this works. Let's give it a crack.
Hello?
Hi, is this Charlie?
Yeah.
Charlie, this is Henry here from CrossFit Living the Dream. How are you?
Good.
Charlie, I noticed that you signed up for our 7-day pass a couple of weeks back. I'm just wondering if you'd like to book in a time to come into the facility.
Oh. What is it? What is it?
Do you remember you signed up for a 7-day pass with CrossFit Living the Dream?
I remember.
You do?
Yeah, but where about?
It's in Thornley.
Oh, it's in Thornley,
Yeah. So, Charlie, tell me a little bit about what you're wanting to do with the fitness anyway. What's the goal?
What Wanna lose the weight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the main goal, or is there anything else?
No, this is.
Okay, sure. And have you been to any gym previously, like recently?
I done the gym before, but I moved to a new place now.
Okay,
I want to cancel the.
sure.
Yeah.
So when would be the best time for you to come into the facility, Charlie? We've got some spots tomorrow if that suits.
I will coming out on next week.
Say that again.
I will coming next week.
Oh, you're coming in next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, let me just pull up the timetable.
Okay.
What day do you think would be the best time for you or best day for you to come in?
How many days do you?
Yeah, we're open every weekday.
Oh, week. Every day.
Yeah, every weekday. Give me a minute and we'll just let me check the timetable. Okay, class schedule. Just give me a minute. So are you close to Thornley, Charlie?
Yeah, I'm living in Hornsby.
Okay. So what time, like, are you better for evenings or mornings, Charlie?
What time? The normal time in the morning.
Morning, sure. So you're thinking what day? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? What do you reckon?
I do it on a Monday.
Okay.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay. Now, did you say morning?
No, I wanna do it in the afternoon.
Afternoon. Okay. So how does 5 p.m. suit for Monday next week?
5 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so we'll do 5 p.m. Monday. Now, have you done any form of CrossFit before?
And you what?
Any form of CrossFit before?
No.
No. Okay, so what we'll do on that Monday session at 5 p.m. is you'll probably have a little bit of a conversation with one of the trainers, and they'll just take you through a little bit of what's called a fundamentals class, where they'll take you through some baseline routines just so you're comfortable with how the training works. Now, Charlie, just to double confirm, we're going to book you in for that time slot, 5 p.m. on Monday, that's 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. That's the 8th, Monday the 8th, 5 p.m. That's good to go?
5 p.m.
5 p.m. Monday the 8th of April next week. That's all good to go?
Yeah, all good to go.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll send you a text message just to confirm this for next week. And yeah, we're really looking forward to seeing you there. Do you have any questions? No.
What about how we gonna? When are gonna do? We're gonna how much a month?
How much a month? What we can do is go through your 7-day pass first, and then we can break down the different membership options after that, just so you get a feel of how the gym works, and then we can go from there. Does that sound okay?
Okay, yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
That sound good?
Yeah, sounds good to me. Sounds good to you?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, Charlie. Well, we'll see you next Monday. That is the let me just remember. It's the 8th of April, Monday, 5 p.m. Looking forward to it, Charlie.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, speak then.
Okay, thank you.
Bye. Okay, cool. Now, let's go to the next one here. So that's 1. Booked. Cool. Done. Now, next one. So that was a little bit different. Pretty straightforward. There's a big difference between male and female prospects. Generally, males are a bit more to the point. Females like to talk a little bit more about what they're wanting to do, which is fine. Okay, next one.
This is Michelle. I'm not right. Please leave your name and surname. Sorry.
So I'd usually leave a voicemail, but I won't this time. Hi, this is Claire.
Yes. May I know who's that?
Yeah, Claire, my name's Henry. I'm calling from CrossFit Living the Dream. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic. Claire, I'm just calling because you signed up for our 7-day pass about a week and a half ago now. I'm just wondering if you're wanting to book a time to come in and start using the pass.
Yeah, I remember that, and I think the reasons that I stopped is because of the location. May I know where your location again?
It's in Thornlea.
Okay, yeah, I remember now. I was carried away by other things, other priorities. Yes, I probably would still be interested. Can you just let me go through that information again? I think Scott sent me the information, so I haven't really looked into them yet.
Yeah, that's okay. Do you have any questions? Because I can answer them now for you on the phone.
No, I'm just looking at the distance is one. I need to check that, and also if there is a timetable of different classes, whether that will suit my existing schedule with the activities that I have on the weekday and on the weekend. So those are the things that I will be looking at, right?
Sure. So tell me, would you be better to train in the morning or in the afternoon?
In the afternoon, or even towards at night, because in the morning it's usually very rough, and then by the time I finish work and get home, it will be and settle kids and everything. It probably would be like 7-ish to 8. So it will be only after that I will be free usually.
Sure. And just before I go into the timetable, can you tell me what's the goal? What are you wanting to achieve with the fitness?
To get myself more healthy.
Is it like strength or just general health, or how would you describe it best?
Yeah, strength. I would say strength and gain more muscle, I think.
Okay. And have you been to any gym recently, or?
Not really, no. It's more like I was with Fernwood, and then I was doing the Zumba, and other than that, not really working out on it.
Okay, so you went to Fernwood for a bit and then Zumba.
Yeah, just that.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I'm just looking at the timetable for next week, and we are open for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We have a 5 o'clock slot and a 7 o'clock slot for both, or for all 3 of those days. Which one do you think would suit you best?
What's the time again for Monday, Tuesday?
For Monday, Tuesday, we've got a 5 o'clock slot and a 7 o'clock slot.
Okay, then definitely will be 7 o'clock slot.
7 o'clock. Because the spaces are filling up, I'd like to get you into one of these classes. So are you thinking the Monday or the Tuesday?
Monday.
Okay. So that's Monday the let me just count that, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, that's that. Monday, 8th of April, and that's for the 7 o'clock slot.
Okay, so what am I supposed to do in that 1 hour slot? What will happen during that 1 hour?
So what will happen is when you go there, you'll be taken through what's called a bit of a fundamentals class or fundamental session where people get you prepared for the CrossFit training. Just make sure that you're good to go with all the training that we do here. And then if you're comfortable and if you feel as though you can complete the session, then we'll complete the session. But then from there, we would set up some sort of schedule for you to do the 7-day pass so that you can actually get an idea of how the services work.
Oh, okay, I see. All right.
So does that 7 o'clock time slot on Monday work okay?
Yes, 7 o'clock is fine on Monday.
Okay,
Okay, correct.
fantastic. So I'm just going to double confirm that 7 o'clock Monday, the 8th of April.
Yes.
Okay, that's all good to go?
Yeah. Thanks for calling me and get me going.
Yeah, no problem. Sometimes you just need that little push. Hey Claire, looking forward to seeing you on Monday.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, see you.
Okay, bye. Okay, cool. So that's good. Let's just do one more. These have been pretty straightforward, to be honest. Super easy. But it takes practice. So, doing these sorts of calls over and over again, notice that all of them, when they started, they did have a bit of a wall. Like they were sort of going, I've been busy. And the important thing for you is to not respond with the same level of energy, even though I'm sort of contradicting what I talked about mirroring before. But you want to dial the emotion down and just go, that's okay. What we can do now is just really figure out what you're wanting to do to move forward. Now, let's do one more, guys, and then we're going to wrap this up.
It would be better for me. In the morning, it would have to be fairly early, which I doubt anyone does it. So I think the afternoon would be better. I've got a daughter, so my husband would I just need to make sure that my husband has her.
Yeah, okay, sure. Just before I get into the timetable, just tell me a bit about what's the goal? What are you wanting to achieve?
Well, actually, for me, I've been training for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then last year, I kind of got into it a bit more when I went to the Tiger Muay Thai training camp.
Nice.
In Thailand, yeah. So I was there for 7 days, and then I'm going again in July for 10 days. And so it was just me and my sister-in-law just getting into just wanting to obviously just, I don't know, revamp ourselves and have another experience, different type of holiday experience, I guess.
Yeah.
And so then we got back and I've been training not non-stop, but every day I feel like I need to be active every day. So I thought when I saw that, cool, CrossFit something else to do. And I guess it's just another challenge really. So yeah, and I do different stuff at the gym, not anything like committed to, so I don't do a certain class every week. I go to any class, or I just get when I can. So I thought, yeah, that would be a good idea to do a trial. But yeah, because I've never done anything to do with CrossFit. Maybe I did a class in Thailand or something. I can't remember.
Sure. Well, it sounds like would be a pretty good fit, given that you've done, a fair bit of intense training with your Thai boxing overseas, and it's probably a good lead up to your trip in July.
Yeah, I think that would be quite cool just to try that. And yeah.
So have you done CrossFit before?
Well, if I say do you mean like CrossFit, like a class of CrossFit, or is that what you mean?
Yeah, generally we have like a workout of the day that you complete. So someone sets up a workout routine and then you do that with a class. But I guess maybe just the intensity, given that you've done Thai boxing, I've done Thai boxing myself, it's probably a similar level of intensity.
Yeah, right. Oh, it was quite hectic. The training very intense.
Yeah, it's good fun though.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I think it was that type of intensity and that type of training is what I prefer. Someone not literally yelling in my face, but telling me to keep going. That's quite hard. I enjoy that type of training.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you'd like CrossFit then.
Yeah. So how does it work, or what do I do? And
Yeah, sure. So what we'll do is we'll just pick a time in a moment, and then at that time you pick, we'll go through a little bit of a fundamental session where we just take you through some baseline movements just to make sure that you're all good to go with the training. And then we can initiate your 7-day pass and give you unlimited access to all our classes for the next 7 days from that point.
Right. Okay.
So I guess the next step would be to figure out a time. So you said afternoons are probably better. We do have an early morning slot at 6 a.m., but then we have a class at 5 p.m. also. So what do you think would be better?
6 a.m. class. I'm just trying to think. The 6 a.m., that's an hour class, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, from Thornley, so that'd be 7 days. I could potentially, if it started at 6, I could work around, I have to talk to my husband, but I could work around a way to do it. And then what did you say, the evening classes start at 5?
There's one at, yeah, tell me.
I don't think I could do a 5 p.m. class. That would be too early.
Or there's a 7 p.m. class.
Okay, 7 p.m. I could definitely do.
Yep.
Is that every day, 7 p.m.?
That's from Monday to Thursday at 7 p.m.
Okay, and then the Fridays at 6 a.m.? Oh, do you do Friday 6 a.m. as well?
So Monday, Wednesday and Friday are at 6 a.m. and then the Tuesday and Thursday at 5:45.
Okay.
So that might work a bit better for you.
Yeah, 5:45 might work. Again, I have to talk to my husband.
Sure.
Are you able to email me those times?
Yeah, I can absolutely email you those times. I think what would be the best move is to get you booked into a class that you can achieve, and then we can actually start the 7-day pass. So
yeah, okay.
I'm thinking maybe Monday next week, which would be the 8th of April. Would you be able to do the 7 o'clock time?
7 p.m.?
Yeah.
Yeah, that should work for me.
Cool.
Yeah, but if you just, how does it, will you email me a confirmation, or how will that work?
Yeah, so what I'll do is we'll put you into that time slot, the 7 o'clock on the 8th, and I'll just send you the address and a little bit of details around what we'd do. It would, like as I said, it would be a little bit of a fundamental session to start with, and then like if you feel fit to conduct the full session, we'll do that as well. But I guess the main purpose is to just get you inducted, just so you get a feel for the gym, and then we can actually start the pass. But you'll get a text confirmation and an email confirmation as well.
Okay, so Monday I'm going to go to 7 p.m. class.
That's 7 p.m. the 8th of April.
Okay, that's fine. And is it like, I'm also just going by what I've seen of CrossFit. Is it a bit like hectic, like you're timed with everything that you do?
Yes, generally.
It is.
Generally, it's like a 25-minute, and then you have a break. It changes. Like we change the workout pretty frequently, but it is generally a timed workout.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah, no problem. Well, looking forward to seeing you, Deanne.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah, no, it'll be good. It'll be good to get you started. And yeah, so looking forward to just confirming Monday, the 8th of April at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
No problem. Well, I'll see you next week.
In my bag, yeah. I don't play. Way too much to navigate, you know my ways. Who come test me?